Bringing it back, ball talk with me and Dukes. We're going to talk about a few things out there in college world here on the Primetime College Football Podcast. Thank y'all for pulling up. I am your boy Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, go ahead and wipe those feet. Go ahead and like, subscribe, rate, review, and give us 5 stars. So me and Duke's going to dive into a few topics. We're going to talk about Colorado's weekend, how that went down. Julian Lewis impressed us both. We're also going to talk about what's next for the Cleveland Browns. The Shedeur Sanders saga continues with the way Dillon Gabriel's balling. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the top 25 of college football. We'll wrap up with some Auburn talk, as well as can the Big Ten and the ACC actually make a run. So shout out to our partners there at Sleeper. If you're not using them for daily fantasy ball, you are missing out. Use our promo code PRIMETIME. They're going to hook you up. Match your first deposit at 100% up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. And here's me and Dukes. Let's dive right into it. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Dukes, doing some more ball talk. Like we said, we're going to try to get this to y'all every single week, talking some ball here on YouTube. Make sure you follow Dukes at Dukes the Scoop here on YouTube, as well as follow me, Primetime College Football. So we appreciate y'all joining us, Dukes. We got to talk some good stuff, man. There's been a lot going on over this past weekend of college football. First and foremost, we've got to talk about Colorado. It did not finish the way they wanted. It was a 29-22. Colorado loses to West Virginia. And Julian Lewis looked promising. 299 yards passing. Not bad. So after you watched it and you let it just kind of process and marinate, how do you feel about Julian's first start, especially on the road?
Man, I couldn't be less surprised. I was a guy, even before I got into the Colorado space, when I was talking to Auburn, when they thought that was a possibility, when I was talking Indiana, or when Indiana thought they were maybe second and he was committed to USC, I always felt like Julian Lewis was probably the most college-ready quarterback in last year's class, in the class that I would say outside of Bryce Underwood, but Julian Lewis and Bryce Underwood were the two that I thought were most college ready. Now, there have been others that have shown that they are ready, like my man at Cal, Bachmeyer.
Oh, yeah.
There's some really good freshman quarterbacks in this year's class. Scotty Fox ain't been bad, right? But Julian Lewis belongs among those names, and he just proved it. I've always said, if you hear, like, anybody who follows me knows that I've said the lights have never been too bright for Julian. As a 14-year-old in the Georgia State Championship game in the highest classification, he throws for 500 yards against Caleb Downs. Like, it's just unbelievable type stuff, right? It's like a chess match between those two, and he never blinked. So I think just with who he is and who he's been is par for the course. The man has lost more games this year than I think he's lost 11 his whole life total.
Dang.
And he's lost seven this year. So I think his total is like 18 now. But you take 1 year where they went 4-5 when he was in middle school playing up, 1 year out. The boy only lost like 6-7 games his whole life. 3 years in park ball, three losses in park ball, 4 losses in high school. That's it. So he's a winner, and you saw that emotion after the game. It's just like, man, I don't like this losing, and that's real. That's not fake. That's not posturing for the camera. That's someone who does not know, he doesn't like the feeling, and you better believe he's going to work doubly hard to make sure he doesn't feel it again. And he goes into every game thinking he can lead his team to a victory. So yeah, I think the city of Atlanta as a whole was proud of Julian Lewis this weekend, and I was one of those people.
Yeah, he balled out. I was watching him. He had some darts. I mean, he had some moments where he need to get rid of the ball, and Prime even said about that in the presser, post-game presser. He said, he'll get better at it. He got sacked 6 times in this game, and so seven times. I'm sorry, 7 times. Yeah. To avoid getting sacked like that, you got to kind of get rid of the ball, right? You can't just hold on to that bad boy and think that the offense is going to settle itself. I mean, that was honestly one of the bigger problems that Shedeur had back in his day. Don't worry. We're going to talk about Shedeur a little bit later too. Okay. But Yeah, you can't hold the ball, especially as you move up into this rank. Even in the Big 12, there's some teams with some solid defenses. Zach Alley, the defensive coordinator there at West Virginia, he's known for dialing some stuff up, and so he put in work. But you're right, Scotty Fox was actually kind of solid. I mean, threw 2 picks, which kind of a testament to this Rob Livingston defense. That the Buffs are trying to get back on, I guess you could say, quote unquote, track. Bigger issue for them right now is, man, they just need more consistency from everybody. But Julian gave you your second highest output in the season passing 299. What was it? K-Salt threw for 305 against Wyoming. So besides that, K-Salt hadn't really been putting those numbers up. Julian walks out there and immediately settles down, starts just slinging it. And you see them pass. Omarion Miller had a big game. 6 catches for 131. So you start to feel good about it. And that's even without Jordan Seaton out there at left tackle. You kind of felt it.
Right.
The pressure was there. The line wasn't what we was hoping it was going to be, but Prime pointed it out. He said that there's work that this team needs to do. And he made the comment of not only this season, but this offseason between roster management, coach management, there's going to be some changes. I'm wondering, what does he mean by that? Like, I'm curious. Is he going to release some of these position coaches? What's that going to be? Because the biggest issue for Colorado to me has still been the run defense. 167 yards given up in this game. And I mean, I know Coach Pecco is still new. This is his first year as a defensive line coach at this level. So he's still getting himself acclimated to teaching people to do what he did. But I mean, who you cutting? Who you relieving of their duties is really what I'm curious about, because I don't think you should get rid of Rob Livingston just yet.
I don't know, man. I think so. As you know, I'm one of the people who I hardly ever call for anyone's job. So
yes,
I'm lead at the Coach Prime. But what I will say is this: something's got to happen, and I think something is going to happen. When you're a winner and someone who's won at the level of Coach Prime, played in the World Series, so he's won big in baseball, a member of those memorable Braves teams of the early 90s, Super Bowl champion multiple times. When you win, I mean, he's won as a coach, won as a high school coach. He knows what it is to win. He's a winner by nature. As he figures out how to consistently win on the college football level, he's looking for that right recipe that will make winning consistent. When I was in manufacturing, and you may have heard me say this before, but when we would implement new processes or any type of continuous improvement effort, I had a general manager at one time when I was a young manager that was telling me, he's like, listen, if you do it once, you're lucky. But if you can make the cycle repeatable, that's when you're good, right?
Right.
So now it's like, okay, was the 9-win season, Shedeur and Travis, and were you lucky or were you good? And I think that Coach Prime will not leave any stone unturned in that building to prove the point that wasn't luck. We're going to do that again, and that's more of the rule than the exception. So I don't think – I hate to say it like this, but I don't think there's anybody who's guaranteed a spot. I mean, maybe Jordan Seaton and Julian Lewis, but I just think I don't know outside of those guys if anybody – and I'm not calling for anyone's job. What I'm saying is I just think that everything is under evaluation at this point because the season has been that bad. You don't go 3-7 with expectations of a Big 12 championship going into the season and think that, it's just like a business that fails. Yeah. Well, when a business is failing, what do? You go look at everybody. You just can't say, oh, well, I like this guy. Or you can't say, well, this guy did good. They did holistically. This was a bad season. And so now I just think that as when you go and you find the guys who you're going to take with you into the next era of Colorado football, the next year, I just don't think there's any place that won't get a fine-tooth comb ran through it when they look for the answer to the problems.
Yeah, no, it's one of those. I'm trying to think, like, yeah, as they're moving into the new era of college football, of Colorado civilization, and you're right, the bigger thing for them is figuring out how can they repeat what they did with that 9-win season? But the good thing is, and you pointed it out perfectly, that you had Shedeur and Travis for a year, well, 2 years, right? You had them in Jackson State, then you bring them to Colorado, and you're trying to figure out what's there. You think you found yourself a nice blueprint, and boom, you win 9 games. Like, all right. Well, the problem you have there is that you're at the end of the road with those boys, and you're back to the refresh. So this year is just like year one for Prime. He's trying to figure out what he's got. He's brought in some young players, but he didn't bring in. To me, he didn't bring in the veteran he needed to really win games today. I thought K-Salt could have been that dude. You targeted him purposely because you saw what he did at Liberty. He looked really good. He looked like a dude that could carry a team on his own, and it just did not work out, unfortunately. Now you're back to square one of first season. Julian Lewis is now that dude, and you got to do what you need to do to not only keep Seaton there protecting his blind side, but build around that to where not only that line gets stronger, but keep them weapons. Because I think you got the wide receiver weapons. I think the line would be great if they were healthy. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of injuries there. The biggest thing to me on the side of the ball, and I'm with you. I'm not big on calling for people's jobs, but you got to figure out some stuff on defense. This defense cannot be this historically bad like this again. That was brutal. This has been a brutal season for Buffs fans. That's something that's got to be fixed. And I think it will be. I think that he'll figure it out. Like you said, Prime's a winner. He's done this for years. He knows what to get in. Not even gaslighting you Buffs fans, or Buff Nation or whatnot. There's a lot of work that has to be done to figure out who needs to be kept. And I mean, I think the secondary is not terrible. I mean, we talked about it a little bit though, dudes. It feels like that linebacker room is where you need to really figure out what's going on. They feel like they're not filling the gaps on the run. Your interior guys, which you got a new defensive line coach, and he's going to have to figure that out. Give him a year. I give him a year of grace. Next season, if I don't see a big improvement, could be you. So, I mean, having the NFL pedigree, having the NFL jackets out there, the run game did see some improvements when those dudes were healthy. So I can't be mad there, but man, you've been cycling through bodies like crazy. Like, are they practicing too hard?
No,
it couldn't be. But like you said before, they got way too much talent to be this bad.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to have the right mix. And I think leadership played a big part in it. You talk about the defensive line where you lose a guy like Block Bully, who in his next year, he's out trying to motivate guys. Yeah. You lose a guy like BJ Green, who made the Jaguars roster. You're losing NFL guys. You have some guys who played pivotal parts that transferred. And that's the thing about the transfer portal. The transfer portal giveth, but it also taketh away.
Taketh away. Yep.
So when we talk about what was missing on this roster, I think there are 11 spots there are some really talented people on this roster. But when you look at the 11, did you have in each position, did you have the best person for the total 11? And I think that's what's important. Like, there are going to be some guys who may not fit at a certain school that fit in your 11 or fit in your 85 or however many the roster is. Sometimes you see guys who may be all-stars on one team, but they can't play for you, not because they forgot how to play football, but do they fit in the scheme of what you want to do in the whole? We heard Coach Prime earlier in the year say, I want all y'all to be wrong if we're going to be wrong. We're going to be wrong together, right? He wasn't saying, just go be wrong. What he was saying was, I need this 11 to move like a unit. And sometimes we always talk about how long it takes to gel, or what they're going to gel, and it's going to take time to gel. Well, what happens when they don't? When it doesn't gel, you get a 3-7 season. So I think you're just going. I really think that each position group. I know for a fact that each position group. Now, this is what I can say. This is some insider stuff, maybe, but each position group is being literally evaluated. And hey, we need to get better here. We need to get better here. We need to get better here. This is why do you bring in certain guys in certain roles? What kind of role do we need? Do we need an older guy here? Do we need a younger guy here? What are our young guys? Who's going to help us here next year? Does he talk enough? And I think leadership is going to be something that is going to be evaluated as well. It's like, hey, what do they say? Does he have a reputation of a leader? If we're going to the FCS or we're going to the group of 5, are we bringing captains? Are we bringing, when you go to FCS, you will want to bring a captain if you're going to bring FCS talent up. Somebody who was able to be a leader. That doesn't mean you have to be a captain in this locker room, but can you bring some leadership so we can build this culture the right way? And it's part of what happens in the transfer portal and in the NIL era is that it's hard to set up a lot of your culture walked out the locker room last year into the NFL with Travis and Shedeur and Cam Craig and Shedeur Sanders and LaJohntay and Jimmy Horn. Like, that's a lot of names that I just said. Will Shepherd. I mean, there are a ton of names that I just said that all had leadership qualities that you may have replaced them talent-wise. And, yes, this may have been your most talented team, but was it your best team? And that's a resounding no.
Question. I agree with you there. Let's switch gears, and we're going to keep it into the family of the Sanders because, hey, man, Cleveland Browns, things looking bad, and people are asking questions now. So let's jump right into that. Before we jump over there, check out our partners here at Sleeper. If you haven't checked them out, Daily Fantasy Ball, you are 100% missing out. They got some of the best odds and options out there right now. They're going to hook you up. $20 just for signing up, no deposit needed. If you decide to deposit, use a promo code PRIMETIME. They're going to match your deposit at 100% up to $100. And so, of course, we're going to check out a couple of plays here because why not? They take care of the people. We want to show y'all some of the great promotions that they've got going on today. One of those good ones right now, 40% boost right now for college basketball. That's for today only. So there's going to have these options go out very often. All you got to do is pick 3 or more players, pick more or less on the statistics, and boom, you can get a 40% profit boost just for checking them out. So if we come in here and we go to college basketball, you'll have, of course, let me see, Justin Pippen over there at Cal. I think that's Scotty Boy, DJ Wagner over there in Arkansas. Like, yeah, you just pick more or less on them. We'll pick 3 or 4 here. No real strategy here for us, but because of that, you can win up to 1,000 times your money, making those game days into paydays. So check them out. Use our promo code PRIMETIME. They're going to hook you up. Match your first deposit at 100% up to $100. But if you just sign up, they're going to give you $20, no deposit needed. For all new users, terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for. We got Dukes here. Jay, we're doing ball talk. Like I said, we bring y'all something every week, just talking what's going on, not only with Colorado, college football, just all around, right? So thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button on both of our channels if you're new. Like as well as subscribe. Join the families as we're growing these. All right, Dukes. Dillon Gabriel, once again, took an L. The Browns took an L, and it don't look good. Of course, you trade Joe Flacco. You run Dillon Gabriel out there. And in this game against, the Jets, he was 17 for 32, 53%, not too bad, 167. He had 2 touchdowns, but man, them passes, he was sacked 6 times, and his passes looked nasty. The bad ones looked bad. Mm-hmm. Now you're starting to hear the louder chatter about probably time to put in Shedeur. We may as well see what the heck we got with Shedeur. What are you thinking with the Browns? I know that he's been dealing with a back situation, so I don't even know if he's even ready to play. But what you thinking about is going with this squad? What should happen next?
I think you should play Shedeur. When you look at what Dillon Gabriel has done with his starts, he's 1-4. When you look at, it's not a thing where you can go and look at the box score and see how bad he's been or how good he's been because he's going to complete he's completed over 50% of his passes, which the benchmark in the NFL is around 63%, which he ain't far off of, to be honest.
True.
When you go
58.6, yeah.
Yep. So when you go look at what he's actually done as a rookie quarterback, he hasn't been completely horrible as far as the box score goes. But when you look at game flow and you watch for the eye test yourself, you say, I'm not sure if this is a winning brand of football that he's playing. So I think it's warranted that you give Shedeur an opportunity because it's not like this guy was drafted number 2 overall and you have this exorbitant amount of capital in this guy.
Millions put in his back pocket that you just got to play him because he's, the first rounder. No, you're right. I agree.
Yeah, it's a third and a fifth. Like these guys aren't that far apart. Basically cousins when it comes in the terms of the draft. So
Right.
I think it's one of those things where you got to give Shedeur a shot. Will they? Probably not. But how much do you let Gabriel lose before you say, all right, am I going to damage him further? So I think it's a thing where you could be hurting Gabriel as well. So sometimes they say, rejection can be protection. So I think with some of the schedule and some of the things that we've seen, maybe this hasn't been the best time for Shedeur to play. I'm not sure what the ideology is behind it because none of this made sense in the first place. But what I will say is that you can't allow Dillon Gabriel to go 1-8, 1-9 without giving Shedeur a shot. At this point, the FBI may investigate it. It's like,
at this point, yeah. And it's funny. I saw somebody from the Cleveland Browns that covers them saying that you shouldn't play Shedeur because it's 8 games left, and that'll be too many games. That Dillon's only gotten 5, and you shouldn't give Shedeur 8. To me, it's like you need to see what you got. I think in both, you've got to see what you got with Dillon Gabriel. Now you need to figure out what you got with Shedeur. And truth be told, I mean, next game is the Ravens. Ravens defense has been cheeks this year. They just have not been what they've been before. Now, granted, they did destroy the Browns second week of the season, but they've not been too good. Lamar's back.
No, they play different when Lamar's playing quarterback.
Fair.
Fair. And this may not be. They may look more like the Ravens from week 2 this week for sure.
That's true. But the good thing is that after that you got the Raiders, and I think the Raiders have done a really good job making everybody look good. So if you want to try them out there, you should. And to me, I'm at the point of, look, Cleveland fans, I'm sorry, y'all the Browns. That's just it is what it is. And I'm more so afraid that Shedeur shouldn't be playing for this team because you're the Browns. That's just how bad things have looked. I mean, you've gone through so many quarterbacks over the last 25 years since you've been back in 1989, 26. You've gone through more quarterbacks than you've been back in years. Mm-hmm. I think that number's closer to 40 at this point, if not past 40. So why should I feel confident that you're going to put out a product that's going to even protect your quarterbacks? Right? Like that's what I look at when I look at this team. And I saw, Stephen A. Smith was saying that he doesn't understand why he's not in the game. You've got all the talking heads saying that Stefanski prefers to lose his job rather than play Shedeur because if you play Shedeur, it makes him look bad. But then you have others saying that if he can't play Shedeur because it doesn't help him keep his job. He's trying to find a way to keep his job. And I don't know what to think in that, but I'll say this. It won't kill you to just throw the dude out there and see what he got. If he plays good, yeah, it goes against your narrative, but who cares? You might keep your job. But honestly, if Shedeur goes out there and balls, he may get fired anyway. Truth be told. Right? I mean, am I wrong for even thinking that? Because it makes sense.
You might as well go out there and win. Put some and have some, have some type of trajectory that you had your team on before you got canned that you can say, hey, next team, this is what I was able to do with a 5th round pick, quote unquote, even though the 5th round pick is disguised as a consensus first rounder, right? But hey, it is what it is at this point. But yeah, I don't think you got nothing to lose, and I just hate to see. I would hate for an ego to cost and rob Cleveland of a potential glimmer of hope on it in this season.
And it feels like, but I don't even feel like they're even trying to have hope, man. At this point, it's like just go ahead and tank again and try to get another quarterback. But I'm looking at the college football landscape. There's possible options, but man, we'll talk about that in just a minute because I don't know how I feel about who's going to be that potential person, but. No, the Browns are at the point where, I mean, you paid Myles Garrett to convince him to come back because you told him who was you going to get at quarterback. I'm assuming that he thought it was going to be Shedeur. Shedeur still ain't played, and he ain't happy. You get Jenkins, and, I mean, it's just nothing's working out. You're 2-7. what more could you lose besides what you're already going to lose?
Right.
Just
Absolutely.
just put the dude in. Let's see if, like I said, let's at least see what you got. You saw in the preseason, you're like, okay, Shedeur might be a little something.
Right.
But then you never really throw him back out there. Now I know he's been dealing with his back situation, dealing with some injuries. Makes sense you haven't put him in, but we're past it. We're past it. Like the fact that Dillon Gabriel in his 7 games just hit what Joe Flacco did in yards in his first 4 games he played.
Yeah.
We're not in a situation where I don't think it's gonna work for Dillon, and I think it's honestly, and I'm being 100% real here. I don't even think it's Dillon. I truly think it's Cleveland.
I don't even think it's Dillon.
I don't even think it's Dillon. I think it's Cleveland, and it's just the way it is what it is, man. It's what it's been for y'all for a bit. So, well, let's see if they decide to make that happen. See if they give this dude a shot, and we know that Shedeur showed up and saw Prime at the game, had a nice emotional moment as a family, which was dope. But let's talk about last week, because last week, college football, it feels like the SEC now is going to run the table. They have an opportunity to. Big 12 teams get knocked off. ACC feels like they don't even want it. They trying their hardest not to get teams into the playoffs. Same thing with G5. So let's jump right into that. You think you know ball? You think you know more than the people out here in these streets? Then, hey, prove that you know it by checking out Sleeper, one of the best daily fantasy sports options out there in the game. They got all the best options and they got the best games out there. All you got to do is pick 2 or more players, pick more or less on the stats, and boom, you turn your game days into paydays. And they're hooking up all of our viewers out here. Use our promo code PRIMETIME. First off, it's going to be $20 just for signing up. You ain't even got a deposit. But if you decide that you want to jump into the game for real and show your skills, show that you know ball knowledge, use the promo code PRIMETIME. They're going to match your deposit at 100% up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. You got your boy Dukes here. Jay, doing some ball talking. We got to, Dukes, let's talk about your squad first, man.
All right.
Auburn. This has been my assessment of Auburn. And we'll talk about this again, too, on your show in a bit, because we're going to talk about this some more. But this has been my assessment on this. This was the first time the defense didn't look like the defense normally would. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's because DJ Durkin was focused on everything and not just defense. And I think that may have taken his mind away from the thing he's his strongest at right now. A lot of chaos. Freeze gets fired, things changing, and now he is, quote unquote, auditioning for another head coaching job here. How did you feel about that performance? Because when I watched it, I was like, oh, the offense has a pulse.
Right.
Didn't even realize it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that is resounding in college football is when Coach Prime was asked about when you going to start, why are you starting Julian Lewis? And he says common sense. And I think getting the ball to Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman in a concerted effort is basically common sense. When you've got $2 million receivers in college football, it would behoove you to get them the ball and make sure that it's, that you're trying to, not tricking people, not saying, hey, it looks like this, but we're doing this. Man, get them the damn ball. Yeah. And I think that's what happens, and that's what happened, and that's why you saw the offense look like it has, and it hasn't. You haven't seen Auburn score points like that in an SEC game in forever, especially against a ranked opponent. I think the defense. I'm not sure if Durkin was effective. I talked to some people in the building who felt like Durkin did a good job of balancing everything. I got to give credit to Tim Beck, offensive coordinator at Vanderbilt, for changing his game plan after halftime. The adjustment that was made, where it says, you know what, you guys are stopping the run game. You guys are stopping what we want to do. Let's change it. Right before the half, they get that score where they go empty, they go fast, they go tempo. Auburn wasn't ready for it, and the adjustment wasn't made fast enough. Some unfortunate penalties took some big plays off the board, but you got spanked. defensively for the first time. And you know what? And the funny part about it is you got spanked, but it's like in every way. A coverage bust, very uncharacteristic of Auburn. But then you go back and you say, dang, well, you miss a guy like Champ Anthony at safety. And I think there are some things that can be cleaned up and will be cleaned up. I think that was more of an anomaly than it was the rule for that defense. That defense is still plenty talented. And I think going forward, in the next 2 games, you got a bye week this week. You get to clean up some things. Durkin gets to get back in the mode of being a head coach as he does have experience.
Yeah.
So I think as he starts to get back in that mode, and I think you can be a head coach and call the defense. I think you can.
I agree.
I think Durkin is capable. And I think that Derek Nix accounted for himself very well. Although it was still a loss. And there's a big debate at Auburn right now is how can you be happy with the loss? You still lost. I'm not happy with the loss as a guy who watches Auburn and went to Auburn. But what I am is encouraged by the offense.
Yeah.
More than anything. If I were to say anything, I'm not happy with the loss, but I'm encouraged by the offense and what the possibilities of what could be or even what could have been if you have this same offense against the Georgia, against the Oklahoma, if just the philosophy of, hey, bro, get the ball to Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton, make them keep the safeties up, and then run the ball with Jeremiah Cobb. It's basically the same thing. When people started to drop the safeties, you started to get less and less looks, the favorable looks on the perimeter. Well, now you take advantage of those favorable looks and you push that safety back up, and then you run the ball down their throats. It seems to be a plenty simple philosophy that I think Derek Nix just took advantage of, and kind of gives you a little bit of a little silver lining on what's been a dark cloud over Auburn football this year.
Yeah, there's been some struggles there, man. And the offense, and I don't say this as shade, but I say this as just being a realist here, and that's what you thought you were bringing Hugh Freeze here for, was this type of offensive performance. This is what you thought you brought Hugh Freeze for, and he just never amounted to it. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what it was. Is it stubbornness? Is it whatever? You just never got this. You run for 210 yards with Daniels running for 89 and Jeremiah Cobb getting 100 yards in the game. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Ashton Daniels looked like a freaking gunslinger out there. 353, and Vanderbilt's defense is no slouch. This is a defense that balls out whenever, they lock down. Clark Lee has done a really good job with his defense overall this year. And so you ask the question, how did Auburn all of a sudden, 2 wide receivers with over 100 yards receiving, the 2 dudes that you paying the most right now, right? The guys that you said that you expected to be them dudes. Right. They put up numbers.
For sure.
They balled. You got everything that was advertised about Auburn this season, we got in this game.
Right.
The only thing is they lost the game in the end. Yep. Against a good Vanderbilt team. We can't even pretend like we normally could laugh and you would clown somebody you can't be clowned this year about Vanderbilt. After last season, everybody's like, nah, be unnoticed. Something's up with this team. And then this year, you're like, yeah, nah, there's something for real up with this team. They 8-2, dog. We can't even.
Absolutely, yeah.
We can't do the usual laugh at Vanderbilt thing.
Not
Clark Lee's done something.
Not
this ain't your grandpappy's Vanderbilt, right?
Man.
This ain't even my daddy or even me as a teenager.
Man, this is like Vandy boys, like the same. It's like the football team is playing with the baseball swag, right?
There you go.
Yep.
That's exactly what it is. This is wild to say. This is the James Franklin version of Vanderbilt, dog. Those 3 years where he won 9 games.
Yeah. Where you go out there? Dreams were dying in Nashville in the SEC.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You go out there, you getting smacked around, and people pissed off. Like, how we lose the man? James Franklin was getting dudes, and then you see it for 2 years.
Vanderbilt, I know. Right?
Nope. I don't remember them. I could have sworn that they were bad. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like looking at Kansas football right now. Like Lance Leipold is out there winning games, and you were like, I remember them sucking. Nah. They've been on the trajectory. So that one's crazy. And then you had the ACC. So we set all this up because I really wanted to get your opinion on that. But really, the big one is this though, Dukes. ACC, 2 big old losses this weekend. Not only did Virginia get knocked off, but Louisville got knocked off. I don't think when the college football playoff polls drop this week, either one of them will possibly be ranked. The ACC want to have anybody? Because you talked about it. Cal's quarterback, the phenom that they have there. What's that? JKS?
Yeah.
I call them JKS.
Mm-hmm.
Cooked them. Cook out there for Louisville.
Right.
Now, both these top 14, number 14 and number 15 in the country get knocked off by unranked squads. ACC looking bad. To me, this is what this lines up for, though. There's a chance the SEC could have multiple teams in the playoffs. They could have 4. They could have 5.
Yeah.
If this plays out.
Yeah, I think so. What I think is going to happen is you got 2 opportunities to stop that. Georgia Tech has a big game against Georgia. Georgia Tech pulls that out. Then, Georgia Tech kind of writes their ticket for the most part. And Pittsburgh, this week, Pittsburgh plays Notre Dame. Nobody's been talking about Pittsburgh, but I was talking about Cade Bell being a candidate for the Auburn offensive coordinator job. Somebody who has a really good offense, did crazy things at the FCS level. They've got a new quarterback, a freshman that they've playing. They had Eli Holstein this year. This year, they got a new quarterback. This guy's the real deal. I believe his name is Heinzel, if I'm not mistaken. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Let me look. Yeah, let me check.
But,
Mason Heitschel.
Okay.
Heitschel, yeah.
Yep. So
butchered that. My bad, dog.
Now, Murder Mace has been balling, and he provides some dual threat capability, and that team is a lot better than what people know. So I think ACC still has some hope left. It never shakes out how we think it is, right? True. Every year it seems like around this time, people just lose games that they are not supposed to. And I think right now that's going to be one of those things that happens with the ACC. They're going to get. I think the ACC gets 2 wins. What 2?
Ooh.
I don't know, but I can see with the games that are left. I can see where there can be enough done, especially with how these SEC, like you got Texas and Georgia this weekend. That's a huge one. Ole Miss has to tread lightly. I mean, there are some teams that we're counting on. Alabama has to play a very talented and motivated Auburn team. So this thing the cannibalism can also hurt the SEC as well. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm not ready to write off the ACC quite yet.
No, I get you there. For me, it's unless Georgia Tech loses in the ACC championship game, is Georgia Tech in the pips? Like Miami, maybe. I guess that's probably the other team that could potentially make a climb, and it's truly going to be based upon how these SEC teams finish up. Because you're right. Bama's going to they got Oklahoma this weekend, and they're going to have a motivated Auburn to close the season out. Oklahoma's got not only Alabama, then they got Missouri coming to the house and LSU, both teams that have some really dire situations with LSU not having a new coach, benching Garrett Nussmeier. And then Missouri's on QB number 3, a true freshman in Matt Zoller, who didn't look all that great in his first start, but, it is what it is when you have to throw a true freshman out there for his first official start in the game against that really good Texas A&M squad. Georgia, Texas, and then Texas has Texas A&M to wrap the season up. Like, there's a lot of potential cannibalism, but I think the thing that helps the SEC right now, though, dog, is that if the cannibalism goes right, and a lot of these games are a lot closer, there's not going to be much shifting in their spots. You know what I'm saying? Oklahoma knocks off Alabama, and it's a close game. Bama is going to drop from number 4, but Oklahoma moves up from number 10 to 5. Bama drops to 8. They're not gonna punish them too bad.
Right.
Georgia loses to Texas, similar situation. It's gonna be basically a borderline flip flop, and they're gonna still be right there in the middle. Notre Dame's gonna have to be Pitt. If they lose to Pitt though, that's it for Notre Dame. There's no reason for you to put them in there. And then you'll have, like I said, the rest of those games, and it'll determine if teams keep winning and barely losing games. Whew, it's gonna get squirrely because do we really believe in these Big Ten teams? Like, I think Indiana's good. I just got to see them against a team outside of Big Ten, but I do think they're good. And Ohio State's Ohio State. Like, they're historical, so I can't even. They always get the benefit of the doubt, in my opinion. But do we really believe in those other squads, though? That's the thing I have questions about.
Yeah, I mean, Oregon barely pulls it out against Iowa, but Iowa's always a good team.
They're a good defensive team. I as much as I want to clown them for that, it's Iowa though. They're known for this.
I mean, and Penn State had the number one. They came into the season ranked number one. As bad as it's been, the NFL talent didn't walk out the door with the ranking. Sometimes guys just can't figure it out, and I think if you go into the season ranked 12, James Franklin probably still has a job. But going in with the expectations that were put upon Penn have kind of hurt you in a way. But that doesn't mean that the roster isn't talented. So I think the parity in college football is real. I really do think that I'm less inclined to say the SEC has the bias. I think they are better roster-wise, but I don't know if you have better teams. I think there's a ton of talent in the SEC, and if you want to go look at 4 and 5 stars, yes, the SEC is going to have the most. But what I like to look at is, are they the best team? Because college football, the teams still matter. Just like a team like Auburn. Auburn is loaded with a ton of talent, but they haven't been able to put it together because for whatever reason, they weren't getting the message from the captain's chair on the ship in the way that they needed to. So, I like the playoff a lot for debates like this, right? This is what the playoff is about. This is the essence of having the playoff, and for someone to prove it, because the Big Ten won it last year, they win it again. I mean, we'll see.
There's no argument. Big Ten goes out there and wins the title again. I mean, there's nothing much you really say. That's 3 years in a row. They've just been owning college football, even though, SEC has owned it for most of the last 20 years. So, hey, yeah, you're right. The Big Ten's got it. I want to see if Kurt Signetti and them boys are for real. I want to see them play against. Let me see them line up against Bama. Let me see them line up against Georgia. Let me see them line up against some of the teams that we historically seen be real good. Hell, put them against Texas. Let's see what they look like. They go out there and they smash them.
That quarterback for real.
Oh, yeah, Mendoza. That dude. Got to give him that. Mendoza's that dude. I can't even pretend like Mendoza ain't that dude, but
for sure.
Well, I guess we're going to have to see what they look like, man. All right, hey, thank y'all for joining us. Like, subscribe over there at Dukes the Scoop if you're watching there. Primetime College Football. Like, subscribe here. Like I said, we're going to keep putting this stuff together for y'all. And, we'll chop it up with y'all next week. Peace.